Welcome in, welcome in. Let's get us all on the big screen. The wait is over. The countdown's officially on. I am Daddy Porter, and that man right there is Matt Clarke. We
What
have
up?
officially a half an hour to get you ready for the game. Probably less because Greg maybe didn't schedule this the right time. But we're going to break down the matchups, check the lines, give y'all the final word before the coin toss. You know the motto: 30 minutes, two hosts, one kickoff. Matt, we got a lot to cover. What's going on, buddy?
What's going on, Greg? Yeah, let's get into the playoffs.
The NFL playoffs, that is, not the
Yes,
college
NFL
football
playoffs.
playoffs. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But Matt, you had something to talk about here. You're interested.
Yeah, so well, I wanted to just kind of give my picks, I guess, going forward. And
Wrong one. Mhm.
yeah, I want to do give my picks going forward.
Yep.
I'm thinking it's going to be a I think the Seahawks are going to just handle the Rams. Um uh I think last night, or yeah, it was last night, against the Bears. I think Stafford's fingers hurting him a lot more than he's kind of leading on. Led to some like high passes and stuff like that. It could also have been the weather, but I just see the Seahawks being the team to beat there. And with the injury to Bo Nix, I think we're going to get a Seahawks Patriots uh, rematch. Hopefully Drake May isn't going to crumble under the pressure, and hopefully Sam Darnold's smart enough to just hand it off to Kenneth Gainwell or Zach Charbonnet to run it in and not fall into the Russell Wilson trap from years ago. So yeah,
Mhm.
it'll be interesting to see. I think that's going to be the the Super Bowl matchup, and I like the Seahawks. I think I at some point their defense is just ridiculous right now. They're playing out of their mind. Um, I don't know who their DC is. I meant to look that up before this, but their DC is doing an excellent job coaching up that side of the ball. So
Yeah.
who do you got?
So, well, before we get to that, because I wasn't expecting to make my Super Bowl pick because we'll be here before the Super Bowl. So
True.
I'm gonna wait on all that because I don't.
All right, fair
Y'all are
enough.
weirding.
Fair enough.
This playoff bracket is weirding me out because I'm not seeing. I'm no longer seeing Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. I still see Stafford, but I see a whole bunch of inexperienced people going for
Yeah.
the Super Bowl, and the one that is Stafford.
Yep.
So I'm Darnold still kind of scares me. You know, May doesn't scare me, but him being this young in the playoffs, like you said, kind of scares me. So no matter what, Matt, it's going to be fun.
Yeah. I think it'll be a really interesting um bracket and Super Bowl going forward. Could have been more interesting. But if a certain team had gotten in
Yes.
there.
Yes, we did just start by
Yes.
basketball.
Yep.
And yeah, so the playoffs have been electric, and without we have to mention this guy, pro football talk, and not Matt and I. You will come to know, y'all, that Matt and I are big Caleb Williams fans. Matt is a huge long lifetime, right, Matt? Chicago
Yeah.
Bear fan.
Lifelong
Um,
Bears fan.
yeah, and I am a bandwagon, just joined this year Bears fan. Look at this. Yeah. And
Oh
pro
no.
football talk.
Well, mine
Pro
just broke.
football. Yeah, oh, that's great. It's tearaway. That's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Uh, so Pro Football Talk, not Matt and I, came out and said that Caleb Williams has two of the greatest throws in NFL postseason history, and he's only played two career postseason games. Look, man, last night that throw on fourth down in overtime, right? Overtime? Oh no, it went to over. It
No,
was
it was
to go to
it was
overtime.
to tie the game to send them to overtime.
Yeah, it was just insane. Like there's only really one word for it, and I don't know if I've ever seen I what Clark, Dwight Clark, the the 49ers, that one that that
Yeah.
49ers, Joe Montana to Clark. Like
Mhm.
to me, that's the only one I can remember that is just that iconic. Actually, at this point, it's going to literally be iconic. And Matt, what do you have to say about all of this? Because this guy was electric in the playoffs. Whether you're a fan of him or not.
Yeah, like, it's and, like, I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, homerism," and stuff like that.
Correct.
If you can't appreciate that on 4th down, Caleb Williams tossed the ball 40 yards going straight backwards, all the pressure in the world in his face, and just dunked it. Like, it's just electricity. Like, that is how I would describe Caleb Williams. Like, watching him play all season, um, he has, like, the most wins in under 2 minutes in an entire season in NFL history. Like, the kid is just absolutely making plays. He's young. This is year 1 with Ben Johnson. Like, yeah, I would have loved to have seen Caleb Williams going up against the Seahawks defense. Real tough test at, traveling and stuff like that. Who's to say where if it would have ended there for the Bears? But like, this is year 1 and this is supposed to be a rebuilding year for the Bears. I originally, I was like, "Hey, anything over 7 to 9 wins is just a successful season." This is an incredible season for a first-time head coach, and a second-year player, and he's just making absolutely insane throws. Are there better quarterbacks that are a little more consistent than Caleb Williams? Absolutely. Is there any quarterbacks making more insane clutch throws? On the side of history says no. So it's just Caleb Williams is absolutely unreal. And I am more bummed that there's not going to be just a Bears game next week for me to watch Caleb Williams play football than I am not them not being in the playoffs, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, and the college football game just started, y'all. It's 5 minutes in, and Miami is taking the field. But we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
I do want to talk about this real quick. I pretty much agree with Matt. I honestly, I I, I don't know. I'm gonna go with Stafford, because he's just the biggest guy left, and obviously, won a Super Bowl. Obviously, playing clutch. Didn't have the best game last week, but did enough for his team to win. Took him down there at the end. All those things. So we will move along because that's what we got to do in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Matt, you wanted to. So the coaching carousel has been insane in the NFL this year, and we couldn't. We will talk about it more, but I mean, we just had McDermott fired today, so Buffalo just opened up, and I'm pretty sure John Harbaugh and Kevin Stefanski are like, man, what? Wait, did I jump too quick? But that being said, we have Miami here. That's not on the graphic on the right, but it's on the left. They snagged up the Packers DC. And I'm pretty sure Matt's happy about that. But we're going to skip over the Bears thing. We had Bears talk before.
Yeah.
And Matt, what is your overall thoughts on this carousel? I know you wanted to talk about it, so you take it away from here.
So I think overall, I kind of wanted to just go, we can go place by place here. Um, I think Atlanta got the best situation they could. They have a really good defense already. Stefanski just needs to hire a guy to run it. I think he's going to do wonders for Penix and Bijan and London on that team. I really think that's going to be like an A plus for me is Stefanski in Atlanta specifically. Um, John Harbaugh to the Giants. I think that's going to be like an A for me. I think they're going to probably be the two best candidates coming out of this coaching carousel. I think everyone else is going to have this like weird kind of like they're going to have to take a lot of chances. I mean, I can't remember the last time there were 10 teams with openings. There was 7 last year or 6 last year or something like that.
Mhm,
Um, so it's pretty crazy. And
mhm.
so, I I like the hiring of Halfley for the Dolphins too. Their defensive unit was struggling greatly. They have some really good pieces on offense that if he can get the OC right, see the biggest problem with hiring a defensive coach is if you get the OC right, then next year when there's a bunch of openings, you're you're going to lose out on your OC because they'll get hired up, they'll get snatched up. But it does give a lot of offensive minds chances to really show up and show out. Um, so with that said, I wanted to go over I think just kind of rating where the rosters are and like maybe ranking how I see like the places that you want. Obviously, Buffalo is going to be at the top. They have their established leader on offense, Josh Allen. You're
MVP,
not going to find
MVP.
a better quarterback in this lot. Lamar. You can have the debate
Oh,
between Josh Allen and Lamar. Um,
yep.
but
Mhm.
actually, you know what? Give me Baltimore over Buffalo.
Mm,
Now I'm thinking about it. The Baltimore's defense is insane. Um, they need help. They Lamar needs help. O line, get him some receivers other than Zay Flowers. Mark Andrews is kind of dipping down with age and stuff like that. Yeah, that's expected. But I would say it's kind of Baltimore and Buffalo are the top two places that if you have head coaching aspirations, that's where you would want to go. Um, and then I would say probably give me Cleveland next. I know that might be a controversial take to take them over the Steelers, but the Steelers might not have a quarterback. There's no guarantee that Rodgers is going to be there next year, and they're going to be in this carousel to get a new quarterback. Um, it's the same thing with Las Vegas. So I would say Cleveland, then Miami, or no, Miami's set. So give me Cleveland, then the Steelers, and then Tennessee, Arizona, and Las Vegas are going to have to just have a they're probably going to have the most coaching search. Although I did read and I thought was interesting is Matt Nagy is the favorite for Tennessee. He's had his second he's either had it by now or he's interviewing today for his second head coaching job. Um uh because the Chiefs actually replaced him already. So they're expecting him to move on. So he'll probably end up at one of these teams. Would be my guess. Um, give him a shot in Tennessee. Coming from a former Bears fan, he didn't work out here. It seems like, at least in interviews, he's learned his lesson. But Titan fans, he's not a bad coach. Um, and then yeah, I think it comes down to Vegas and Arizona just duking it out for either scraps or best of what's rest. But I think
mhm.
it's kind of how I have my tiers of the cycle. How about you, Greg?
Yeah, I'm just gonna give some quick hits here. I think McDermott is going to probably end up in like Baltimore or something. Uh, yeah, it really that kind of it feels right, if that makes sense. I would love to see him in Cleveland. I don't know. Maybe Pittsburgh. I think he again for me, he's the wild card here now because he's just got thrown out there in here, and I don't think anybody really had that on their radar because everybody kind of had Buffalo kind of projected to the Super Bowl. And then if they're in the Super Bowl, then it's hard to kind of get rid of your coach. But the fact that they got rid of him now, I think throws a lot of this an upheaval. But I just don't. I see him being able to, um, you know, I wouldn't say pick, but I would see I feel he comes out now and he's like the forward, he's like the big guy now, it seems like just like 8 hours later or something. So it's um he's gonna be interesting. And then what Belichick in Buffalo is intriguing, but I don't think it'll happen. But it would be intriguing because because Bill, we were like, oh, he's nothing without Brady. But, Josh Allen would be a wonderful thing for him to be able to put a defense behind and just run. And that's, because that's what he did with Brady, was put a defense behind Brady and at some point just let Brady run. So yeah, I mean, this is going to be interesting, and we are halfway through our show, so we will be updating this throughout the off season. Y'all will be here for the whole off season. So we have a update. We have 0-0 with 11 minutes left in the first for and Indiana's got the ball for the first time, and Miami is pushing them back. So,
Hmm.
for that, there's going to be a new thing here. Actually, I didn't get to talk about this real quick. Oh, or did I? Yeah, I
You
did.
did, yeah.
I disagree with Matt. I said I have LA and I have, unfortunately, the Patriots, but I would love to see the Chargers pull this out somehow
Broncos.
and get into the Super Bowl without Bo Nix, but it would kind of be sad because I like Bo Nix. I've liked him since college. I was a big fan of his. So yeah, there's a bonehead of the week that you would like to speak about, Matt Clarke.
Yeah. So Dan Orlovsky had a pretty bad take. Um defending Josh Allen and blaming the Bills offensive line for not picking up Josh Allen's fumbles. Well, guess what, dude? That is not always how it works out. I had an edit to this if you'd like to show the lovely people that, because that's what I think of his take. Um, I man, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. It says fumbles, not fumble, fumbles. Like that is I think the biggest knock on Josh Allen is he does give it up sometimes. And he's a tank. And I love Josh Allen's game. Like if I had to root for a second team, it's the Bills. But like whew, it is it's brutal to watch. And like I'm a firm believer that in Josh Allen, I almost rode him to a fantasy championship this year. Um
Mm, mm,
he did though put up 6 points and fumbled the ball twice in the game that I needed him to, and I lost because of it. So
mm,
eh, that's
mm,
that is
mm.
systemic, but also I don't necessarily think you can blame the O line for his fumbles and not picking them up. Like there's such a thing as turnover luck, and sometimes that just bites you in the ass. You can ask the
Mhm.
Bears. The Packers put the ball on the ground like 6 times against the Bears in the playoffs, and they didn't recover a single one. It happens. Fumbles are weird. Fumbles are weirder than interceptions. So it's just one of those things. Like I don't think there's anyone to blame except for Josh Allen not holding on to the ball.
Yes, and Matt Clark, as someone who has followed college football and drafts for years, and we have followed them together, I know Matt Clark's going to remember one of the things that people were worried about Josh Allen coming into the pros was what, Matt Clark?
His fumbles.
And his interceptions and his
Yep.
erratic way of playing outside of the amazing way he
Hmm.
plays. So like it's almost it's he is really our version, in my opinion, without the jackassery of he's Brett Favre, in my opinion. He's a
Yeah.
gunslinger. It's all or nothing. It
Hmm.
could literally be the most amazing play ever, and it could just be the most head slapping what the play ever, back to back. Game back to back. Brett Favre will take you and win you the game. Next week, he will take you and lose you that game by some crazy. So, and that's I'm giving him the Brett Favre, prime Brett Favre. As a Bears fan, he was a pain in y'all's ass.
Yep.
So, and Josh Allen is a pain in the ass. Period. So
Hmm.
you just Josh Allen's that guy. You gotta hope he puts the ball on the ground 4 times, because if he's not, he's going to be putting the ball in the end zone at least 5 or 6. So
Yeah.
um, he almost has to beat himself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And he did. So unfortunate for him, but it was good for our entertainment, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't our team, so it wasn't
True.
our
Very true.
misery, if that makes sense. Shout out to Bills Mafia. Generally, I my last football game was with y'all. I went to see Josh Allen and Baker in Cleveland, and y'all were some of the nicest fans I've ever met in my life. Y'all were engaging, fun. There was no like people getting too excited or hyped up about it, even though it's hard to believe that with Bill's Mafia, Matt, because they like chairs and tables and they really like they have that WW or AWE. How about that? Let's do the right one. They have that AWE style
AEW.
that
Yeah.
AEW. My bad. Yeah,
Chairs,
yeah.
tables, everything. But
Everything.
but look, there's nothing wrong with that though. Like because like wrestling is like it's all like professional wrestling is all love. Like
Mhm,
that's the feeling of wrestling in general. Like
mhm,
you can hate somebody, but you know that guy is going back and then talking to his buddy after the match and being
mhm.
like, "Yo, like this was
And having a
great.
beer.
Like we need to work on this." Like,
And having a beer and all that, like,
right.
like nothing
Yeah.
happened, right? So,
Yep.
we have 10 minutes left, and it's time for us to talk about the game of the night, which has already started, which is the national championship game, number 10 Miami versus number 1 Indiana. I don't think you could have, 2 teams that you would never expect to be here. For all of y'all who get mad about Georgia and Alabama and all those teams being up there all the time, they're nowhere to be found, y'all. So enjoy the parody, enjoy the new different teams. Indiana is a basketball team. What are they doing up here, Matt? And Miami hasn't been on the scene since what, Michael Irving and all that. So, what is your initial take on this before we get to picks, and then we'll get to the draft, the prospects in 9 minutes.
I think it's super refreshing. Um, a few years ago, like I was all about the Huskies being there in the Natty. And I was just I love a good underdog, right? Um, and I like the mix up. I don't like seeing the same teams over and over and over again. It just proves that there's probably something wrong with nil, honestly. But it's refreshing to see two kind of like not new teams. Obviously Miami's had tons of success, you know, but it's cool to see them in the Natty in the last decade. You know what I mean? Like it's just there's two fresher teams out there. I don't know if Miami had a Natty team in the last 10 years, but
Mm-mm,
I
mm-mm,
don't think Indiana has.
neither.
Um, I haven't been following college as much this year just because with how exciting Caleb Williams has been, it's honestly I've just been like locked in on the Bears all year. Um, but that's going to change. I'm going to get back into college again next year. The last year that I really paid attention was the year that Drake May, Bo Nix, and Caleb and Jaden were all drafted to their teams, and watching. I'm a huge Michael Penix fan. Um, I think he's going to be the leader over there for the Falcons for a long time. It does suck that he, lost a lot of the season to the injury and will probably miss some time next season as well to injury. But we'll see how that goes down the road. But yeah, so uh in terms of like the prospects coming out of here, I think Mendoza is going to be awesome for I guess the Raiders are probably going to draft him. They have the number 1 pick, right? Raiders.
Yeah, he's gonna be awesome for the Raiders.
He's going to give them hope. They need
Okay,
a
okay,
coach. Um
okay.
but they're doing the thing that like you actually get success with where you don't have a lame duck coach and you're going to have a coach that's going to want to come in and they're going to find the guy who wants to work with Fernando Mendoza, right? Like
Mhm.
they're going to find that guy. And when they find that guy, that's who they're going to hire.
Okay, okay.
Um
Who else you got prospect wise?
I mean Carson Beck's a senior, he's definitely coming out in the draft. If Mendoza's I don't think he's officially declared for the draft yet. Not
Yeah,
100%
yeah, yeah.
sure.
Yeah, he didn't say
Um
anything yet.
Yeah, he's probably waiting until after this game, which I like. I like that focus. Like if he's thinking about the NFL, he's not thinking about this natty game. And
Mhm,
winners think about the
mhm.
game in front of them.
Correct, correct.
So I can
Yeah.
I can appreciate that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Carson Beck's been around a long time. He has always found success. Georgia, for a few years there, I think.
Mhm.
Georgia or Bama? Hold on, let me double check that. I don't want to misspeak on that. He
Who back?
was, yeah,
Georgia.
on Beck.
Yeah, it was Georgia.
Yeah, longtime Georgia player. Found a lot of success there. I guess
Mhm.
just tried it out in Miami, and got them to the Natty. So like you can't hate that either. Um, I usually I
Mhm.
usually make a quarterback pick every draft that I think is like my under the radar pick. Um, and I don't know if they've all declared, and we can get into that a little bit later, more on that. But I've had a really good. You can ask Greg. I have had a really, really, really good record with picking. Like, hey, this is like the dude from this draft. Going back to the Josh Allen drafts and guys before that as well. So the other two I wanted to highlight are the two edges, Ruben Bain Jr. and Messidor, Akeem Messidor on this list. Uh,
Mhm.
either one of those guys. Bain is a Bain's a junior. I don't know if he's coming out, but if he does, he's probably going to be one of the top edges off of the board, I'd imagine.
Mm.
Especially if Miami pulls this out.
Mhm.
Messidor is a senior, and he's like one of the super seniors that's done like 6 years of ball. And he actually leads the team in, or I don't know if he leads the team in sacks, but he has more sacks this year than Bain Jr. I'm guessing just for how they ranked these guys, probably just because Bain Jr. is a little younger, a little lighter, and it looks like a little faster as well. But yeah, either one of these guys I think would make a great compliment to the Bears, at least if one of them falls that way. I mean, the senior, Messidor might actually get down to the area in which the Bears are drafting. But what about you, Greg? What do you got for the prospects here?
Yeah, you summed it up pretty well.
Sorry.
I'm looking at number no, no, no. That's why we're here. And me talking less is a better show, I believe. But whatever, we'll work at that. But no, I'm looking at the OT here. As a Browns fan, we need some OT, so I'm going to be looking at the OTs here. Pretty much once I start watching. Omar Cooper Jr. is someone interesting here too that I think we should keep an eye on. I'm just going to do the keep an eye on thing here, and we'll get into the draft and all that soon once we get to and Matt, you touched that. So we have 2 minutes left, Matt. We and the game is 0-0, and let's see here. Indiana is just crossed half field here on the 46 now, second down. So there's no score. So we can give here a little bit before we get out of here. Thoughts on the game?
Um, so it seems like Miami has the superior defense, and they have the experience of Carson Beck to drive that team. But I like a wild card, so give me the Heisman winner. Like, give me Mendoza and Indiana to just get it
Mhm,
done.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, I Matt and I are. You'll see, y'all. We're really NFL strong, and we are not. We like college, and we watch the prospects. And I know I watched more this year. I know that Matt did. Matt was a little disengaged. Matt was more engaged when his team had the first pick, and he needed a
It's very true.
quarterback. And
It's
that's when
very
Matt
true.
was all in on the college. But Matt has
All
drifted
in.
away
I watched
because
that
of
entire season. I watched more
yeah,
college. I got
right,
I got a TV subscription for that reason. That
right.
entire year just to watch college football.
So I'm gonna go with I don't really like Carson Beck, I'll be honest with you. So I'm gonna go with Indiana and number one, and they deserve the number one. Didn't they beat Ohio State and they beat like all these teams? So I'd like to see them just finish it off and have Indiana at the top. There's something about that, especially in football.
Yeah.
So Matt, it was great. It was our first show. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks. And just like that, the clock hit zero. We promised y'all the fastest pregame show, and I think we delivered. That was 30 minutes. There were 2 hosts, and now it's the kickoff that it's already happened. But y'all enjoy the championship game, and we'll see you in 2 weeks, the week before the Super Bowl. Matt, thank you.
Yep. Thank you guys. Signing off.
Cheers.